Hi everybody, it's Kathy here, and I am joining in a little bit late but still there for the Iron Crafter Challenge for January. We needed to use a border punch, some acrylic pieces and a stencil. So I'm going to start off with the stencil, and I'm going to be putting in some modelling paste for the first layer of the stencil. This one's like a crazed pathway patchwork type of pattern. And I'm just going to add it here to this uniquely creative piece of paper and build up my base from there. While that's drying, I'm going to paint all of my chipboard with weathered paint, distress paint from Tim Holtz. I actually love this colour. It's my favourite colour at the moment, and it's matching in nicely with all of my layout. So I'm just prepping the chipboard because I want to include it in on the layout, and this colour is perfect for my photos and for the papers I've chosen to use today. Now the Iron Crafter Challenge, I think, says it all. It's like the Iron Chef. They are the ultimate, the best. Challenge yourself to do more than just the bare minimum. So I thought that this layout I would attempt to do a little bit more of my preferred style of scrapping. Not that I can do it all the time because it is so intense, but I like to layer up and I like to bulk it out and use all the elements that I can. So for this one, this married in beautifully. I'm just finishing off painting this chipboard here. All of these are from Scrapbook Fantasies, from the Chippy of the Month Club, so well worth the money each month for those, I can tell you. So I'm just going to use this piece here, which is another uniquely creative piece of paper, and I'm going to use it for my frame, so that's why I've cut out the middle, and I'm also going to mount my photos onto it and also use it for part of my layering underneath the photos. So these photos are of my daughter. They were taken on our yearly trip to the city for our Christmas. We were down around the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge and Circular Quay, and she was in a very good mood, which was so nice to see, because she hasn't been for a long time. And so when she's in a good mood, she loves to just practice stretching her legs and ability and recalling her dance ability, proving to herself that she can still do it. So I took the opportunity while she was pretending to be a ballerina near the Opera House to take these photos, and I absolutely love that. In the arch of her hand, I got the arch of the Harbour Bridge, so it was just a great capture. So as I said, I'm using this paper. Here's another part of that uniquely creative one, and I'm using it to create the rest of the layering parts that I need from the layout that I want to do. The paper that I'm using is called Summer Sonata, and that's the brand of uniquely creative paper that I'm using for this one. So I've cut out a couple of tags that I want to incorporate, and I have to use a border punch. So I am punching out the border here. Oh look, here's Willa. She's come to visit. This is our new little kitten, Willa. She's actually my son's kitten, but she thinks that my scrapbooking table and my cricket and my bookshelf is her own property. So sorry for the interruption by that little terror. She's a shocker, but she's learning that she can't be climbing up on my desk when I'm creating. So sorry, I'm still trying to recover, but I'll persevere. I do apologise that my voice sounds so bad. Now all of these strips are coming together. As I said, I'm using the border punch to go in under the edging of my paper, and I will show that shortly. Now I'm coming back in again with the stencil. So this is part of the requirement for this Iron Crafter for January. And this time I'm using the gold solar paste, and I really like the effect this has. And I'm going over with some scattered dots on the stencil just to give it another image across the layout. So I have two levels with the stenciling. Now I could have gone a third level with the stenciling in the fact that I could have just inked in with the pinks as well, but I don't need to because it's actually quite a busy and compact layout overall anyway. But I just love the hint of the gold through this stencil here, and the solar paste just dries so quickly. So it only takes about 5 minutes for it to actually become dryable and workable. So I put that to the side until it's in, and now I'm just going to distress the edges of my main layout because I want it to have like a shabby chic appeal to it. I want it to be a little bit rustic, a little bit shabby, and because I just think those photos lend themselves to that feel. I also had that acrylic piece there of the ballerina. I've had that for a few years. I was given it for a swap, and it's finally coming out of the stash, and it's going to land on a layout, which is a bonus here and meets the acrylic piece. Probably not the intended acrylic piece that people would have thought when they set the challenge. They're probably thinking the acrylic titles, but it's an acrylic ballerina, and it fits beautifully for my daughter's pose in these photos. Okay, so now I have done my base laying. I'm going to put in my border punch pieces, and I want them to be a part of the layout, but I don't want them to dominate the layout. Now, you would have seen in my recent layout from Paws to Our Hearts, I have done the similar technique. This one is a little bit of a lazy daisy border punch, and the blue just peeks out, which is perfect because it picks up the blue from the sky in the photos, and it's just that hint of it. I don't want it to overpower the pinks, but it's just there in the background, and the effect of the daisy, the doily underneath, has that little bit of femininity, that little shabby chicness to the layout. So I'm just now adhering it all down, and that way I know that it's all in place and it's ready to go. So, do you like Shabby Chic? I do. I don't do it often, but I do love the look of it, and I do like to play around in that arena every now and then. I know that it requires a little bit more work to achieve, but I do love the overall appeal that it has in the end. So I've now put out my Victorian Velvet distress ink, which I'm going to use to ink the edges of my tags and added pieces. So I'm just popping around the edges. I don't need it to be too much, but I just want it to lift up off the background. So the Victorian Velvet is the perfect colour for that. I've gotten some thread, which I'm going to put through my tags here, because I like to make sure that my tags are dressed and not naked, as Adam Westwood would say. And I'm just adding them through the top and just tying them to make sure that they stay adhered to the tag. All right, so it is a 2-photo layout. I'm going to tuck in behind with the 2 tags there. I'm going to make some fishtail banners just to poke out from that top photo to come across the layout, just as a point of interest, also to draw your eye. I just really want to layer this one up. I don't know, I just feel that this layout calls for a lot of layers, a lot of intricate bits to it. I know that's not everyday scrapping, and I know that we don't do that all the time, but every now and then it's nice to just make a pretty piece. And I really want this one to be a pretty piece. The photos just scream for it to be a photo, or a pretty piece. I either put them into frames that go on walls, or my husband built me a 12 by 12 frame, which I put some rings on and the page protectors, and we can flip through and change the display, and that sits on my display cabinet. And so I can change which layout is changed daily if I like, or leave it there for a week. But the kids love flipping through it and changing it, and they let me know if I haven't put one up of them in a while. So it's always a good talking point, and it's a great way of making your layouts be seen and not just in albums. Now I'm just layering it up now with some 3D flowers. You can see that I've got the ballerina there. I added in the 2 doilies as anchor points. That was just an extra little bit of a tribute to the border punch that I had on the sides. I have the pinks and the blues happening right across the layout. And you can just see how that stenciling gold has just given that little bit of interest and a little bit more to just a flat piece of paper. I really like layering it up. Remember, there are no rights or wrongs. You just do it to your like. I like lots, so I will layer it up lots. Other people like it as a minimalist, so it's all down to personal preference choices. What do you like to do? Depending on the layout, of course, but I prefer to add more. I have gone and fussy cut some flowers out of the blue paper that I had. I've cut the butterflies and I've popped them in there. I've popped up some of them on foam tape, and there's the layout now come together. You can see the stenciling in there. You can see that I've got that border punch around the edges there. There's the acrylic ballerina. So all the criteria for this challenge has been met, plus some more. I really do like how it turned out. As I said, this isn't an everyday scrapbook thing. You can see my stenciling. There's the acrylic. There's the border punch. It's not everyday scrapping. It's a shabby chic layout, something that I like to do. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that there is something here that inspires you to have a go, or maybe think about having a go, or reminding you of a technique that you once used. Please check out the playlist down below for all the wonderful people who are creating. Tara is amazing, the paper snob. She runs this hop for us every month. Happy scrapping, everybody. Check out my next video recommendation, and I'll see you in the next video.